Hi, welcome back to System Foundations. Today we're going to look at Apache and virtual hosts. So if you will go ahead and boot up the machines that you have over in our, let's see if I can bring it up here, our Systems Foundations OVA file, you'll see that you have 4 machines. We're going to need to power the first 2 on for sure, and all 4 would probably be a good idea. So if you'll go over there and go ahead and click on the System Foundations, you can go ahead and start all of these if you want to. You can do a normal start or headless start. I'm going to go ahead and choose a normal start. I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. It says don't start them all at once because that's going to waste cycles and resources. So you can see those machines are starting now. We've got a bunch of systems that are coming online. Oh, there's that Windows sound. So as those systems come online there, we can see that some of them fit in our window here. We got desktop 2 is still thinking about it. There we go. It doesn't quite fit. It's a little too large. I've dropped my resolution way down for this for these videos, but that's okay. So on this, we'll go ahead and I'll try to switch this to scaled view. So scaled mode. And then on scaled mode, I can shrink it down a little bit. So move that over. Got it scaled now, and we'll do that. And then the other machines, we've got our BSD box, which remember, if you click inside of it, you have to press the right control to get your mouse again. So just watch out for that. If you click in the black area, you no longer have a mouse. So you need the right control button, not your left control. The right control, and you get your mouse back. Don't forget that. That could cause problems. And then where's Geneva? There we go. And we've got the Web01 right there. So I've got those systems up and running. Now I've got those up and running. I'm going to go ahead and access those. If you set up your virtual machine network, you should be able to SSH into those. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to pop into a couple of machines over here. So I've got my terminal right there. So on my CLI, and in my CLI, I'm going to go over and log into our Apache system. So this is going to be our Apache system. Right now, Apache is not installed. So I'm going to do SSH student at 192.168.56.51. So it's Web01, and it's 51 is the IP address there. It should pop us right in. There we go. Now we're logged into that system. You can see what it looks like there. I'll try to make this a little bit smaller so you can fit a little bit more on the page. There. All right. Now that we're in here, let's go ahead and get Apache. So we're going to do, at this point, go ahead and do a sudo-s. You can do a sudo-s. And now type apt get install Apache 2. So we're going to get apt get install Apache 2. Now if you hit tab a few times, it shows you the other options that you have there. Apache 2 utils, which that's a good idea too. So we'll just go ahead and grab that. And then you have the doc file. That's a good idea. So we'll grab the document file too. So there you go. Now you got 3 things you're installing: Apache 2, Apache 2 utils, and Apache 2 doc. Press, and you put a -y at the end if you want, -y, and press enter. The -y will cycle through and install everything right away. And it will not prompt you. All right, it looks like it's just about set up here. Let's check it out. Once it pops up on the screen, we're going to go over to var www html. So cd to var www html, enter, and look in that directory. We have 2 files in there. One's index.html. So if you look at index.html, it says hello world. And we got file.txt. So if you get file.txt, you can see hello world in there. So let's open up one of our machines. So we're going to flip back over here to one of our desktops. And it could be the Windows desktop. I'll use the Windows desktop first. And we'll go to Internet Explorer. And in Internet Explorer, we're going to go to www.lab.lab.lan, like that. And you can see hello world pops up there on the screen. So that hello world is coming from our web server. So we're able to get to it from outside the network. So, sorry, from outside that machine. That everybody's seeing that black coming across the screen. I don't know if it's just me or if it's coming across the video. But now we can see that hello world's there and that it is working. So www.lab.lan does work. Let's verify that, and we're going to change hello world. So we're going to pop back over, and we're going to change hello world. So I'm going to vi index.html and change it from hello world to hello world again. There, again. Escape, :WQ, enter. Now that that's saved, we do not need to restart Apache because we changed a static website. We need to refresh our browser. We will not need to restart Apache when you just change a web page. You will need to restart Apache whenever you change the Apache configuration, which we'll be doing in just a moment. So over here in the remote display, let's go over and hit, if I can find, there we go, hit refresh. And there you go. You can see that this is working and we can get to our web server. So everything is functional. All right. In that case, we know that www.lab.lan does work, and we can dig that and look at that in our systems, which I'll go ahead and pop over and we'll carry on. There. So we can look at that in our systems and we can keep going with that. But let's go ahead and look at virtual host configuration. So cd to etc Apache 2, enter. Now there are two key directories in Apache. Well, I guess I should say three because one's the log file directory. That's etc Apache 2, var www, and var log Apache 2. So if we go ll to var log Apache 2, enter, then you'll see the error log and access log. If we go over to Apache 2, where we are right now, etc Apache 2, and look in here, you can see all of our options there. And of course, if you look into ll var www, enter, and you can see that our HTML folder is in there. Now, next week, we're actually going to be installing a task manager that will allow you to record to-do lists inside of your system. So that we'll have a back-end SQL server. It'll be running MySQL in the back-end. It'll be running PHP, Apache, and a whole bunch of utilities. And we're going to install that and make it work so that you're going to have a very nice, professional-ish looking application running. And it's something that you might want to use for your daily life. Maybe you want to keep your to-do list in there. I know I kept my to-do list on an online system, for years ago. So maybe it'll work out for you. So now I'm in etc Apache 2, and you see the directories we have there. Back over to this. We've got conf available, conf enabled, mods available, and mods enabled. Now, those configuration files, those conf available and conf enabled, those are the things, that's where we're going to put our vhost file. The mods are modules that go inside those, not modifications, but modules. And those modules do things like SSL and other features. Then the sites, those are actual directions where we want our configuration to end up. So sites available and sites enabled. Now we may want to put our vhost.conf file in sites available instead of conf available, because we're really just changing our virtual hosts and we're not changing any other settings. All of these are configuration files. So if we do an ll conf available, enter, you'll see that those all end with conf. If we do an ll mods available, you'll see it, well, in those cases, some of them end with conf and others end with load. So we can see the SSL conf and SSL load, etc. And then if we do the ll sites available, enter, you'll see that those are configuration files. We may just want to go ahead and do it in our sites because all we're going to do with it is actually record our sites, our virtual hosts. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go over to cd to sites available, and we will link the files in here, sites available, over to sites enabled. That's how you enable a website inside of Apache, is you just link the file or create the file in there, whichever one you want to do. So we've got this etc Apache 2 sites available, and we're going to vi vhosts or vhost, whichever, but vhosts.conf, like that. vi vhost.conf. Press enter, and it's going to pop up, and now we start typing our virtual host configuration. Okay, for our virtual host configuration, we only need 3 options. One is virtual host. So let me make sure I'm in the window here. Hit I for insert. Where are we at? What window am I in? There we go. I for insert virtual, and you have to do proper case, virtual host space *:80. That's the first option you need. Next is you need server name, because if you don't have a server name, then there's no reason to have a virtual host. And we'll call this one www2.lab.lan, and then a document root. You need to tell it where your files are located. In this case, it can be var www html www2, like that. Then we'll close our virtual host with a slash, very reminiscent of HTML, virtual host, pink. And we've just created a virtual host now for lab.lan with a www2 host and then www2 directory. So let's see if we can get that to work. Go ahead and save this file, escape::WQ, enter. Now we save that, we will have to restart Apache, but before you restart Apache, be sure you create your directories. So make a directory, var www html www2, like that, enter. We've made that. Now we can go over to cd to var www html www2, and we can make an index file, vi index.html, enter, and we'll just say, well, you know what, we'll just say this is the folder for www2, like that. This is just going to verify that it works. That's all we're trying to do right there. So we create an index file. So you'll see that we have index.html inside of var www html www2. Now, here comes the tricky part. We're going to need to edit DNS. So in order to edit DNS so that we see www2.lab.lan, or in order for someone to visit that and get this page, our DNS server has to be working. So let's make sure it works. Dig www.lab.lan. We know that one exists. And you'll see that comes up with our IP address, 56.51, lab.lan. Now let's go over and let's dig www2. You notice nothing's there. We need to create it on our DNS server. So from this interface, what we want to do is we know that we're going to be editing DNS a lot from this machine. So we're going to go ahead and type ssh-copyid-i root.ssh and see if we've got anything there. We don't have any IDs there, so we need to go over and make them. So let's type ssh-keygen, enter. It's going to generate some keys. We'll press enter, enter, enter. You now generated the keys. Now we'll do the ssh-copyid-i root.ssh id rsa pub, as you can see on the screen here. And then where do you want to go? Well, we're logging in as root at 192.168.56.11. So press enter. It says, are you sure? Yes. And then the password is password. There we go. Now we don't need to type our password every time we pop over to that server. So now let's log into our DNS server. So this is actually a name server. It's running OpenBSD Unix. So we're going from an Ubuntu box, LSB. You can do the LSB release-a. You can see what we're running there. That's our Ubuntu box, and or a uname-a, and that will show you that you're running Ubuntu symmetric multiprocessing right here. All right, so let's go SSH. Since we are currently root, we do not have to type root at, because it will take your current username, but we'll do it anyway. So root at 192.168.56.11. Remember, we want to make a virtual host so that we can go to www2.lab.lan and get to that directory. In order to do that, we have to have that in DNS. And everybody remembers from networking classes that DNS changes IP addresses over to names or resolves names to IP addresses. Either way you want to look at it. So we're now on CYB DNS01. Let's go over to var named master and press enter. So now we're in that folder. You can do an LL and you can list the files in there. You see zone.lab.lan. Let's vi zone.lab.lan, and we're going to add a little entry here underneath webmail. And there we're going to go www2 123a 192.168.56.51. So if you see what we just did there, we just added our new name, www2, which is actually going to be different. Next week, we're going to make it task.apache. Well, we'll probably do it this time anyway. Task.lab.lan next week inside of Apache. We'll go ahead and do that now. So let's go ahead and make that too. Task and 192.168.56.51. We now added those two addresses. Up here, we need to increment the serial number normally, but since we own the DNS server and we're not using anybody else and no one else is resolving to us, we don't need to change it. So that's kind of cool. So let's escape :WQ. Then we need to restart the DNS system. In order to do that, /service restart. I made a little script for us so we can do it automatically and make sure that we don't make any mistakes. And down here it says all zones are loaded and they are running. So if we type dig www2.lab.lan, then sure enough, it does resolve properly. That's great. So let's exit. Now let's restart Apache. So the way we're going to restart Apache in a couple of ways. You can do a service Apache 2 restart like that. We're going to do it etc init.d Apache 2 restart like that. Now if you do the it's this way config test, if it's installed, it's not, so I don't have config test installed, but you can do a config test and it'll let you know if everything's running okay before you restart it. So let's go over and look at our page back over in the Windows host here. We have www. Let's change that to, let me bring it up on the screen here. Let's change that to www2 lab.lan and see if we can get there. Oh, in this case, it's not taking us over. And we can say, why not? Why did it not bring us over? And you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to activate our site. So if we go back over to cd to etc Apache 2, just right there, Apache 2. If you do an LL of sites available, then do an ln-s etc Apache 2 sites available VHOSTS, and now you only have to do this once, by the way, and it will always read your VHOST file after this. So etc Apache 2 sites enabled. Enter. Now we just create a link. So if you do an LL sites available, you'll see it's still there, and sites enabled, LL is sites enabled, and you'll see that we now have a vhost file there. It is linked over. That means anything we edit right up in the other directory, in the sites available directory, will cascade over immediately because it's just linked over to the sites available. Now let's restart Apache. There we go. Now let's go back over to the Windows box, which you just missed all that, didn't you? Oh, nice. Here, I'll bring it up on the screen and I'll pop in my history. So let's go over to history. And then if you look in the history, we've got from where we did our copy ID and our key gen and all that stuff. Whoops. All that right there. And we moved that down and we did this ln-s. So I'll type it again really fast. So cd to etc Apache 2, then ln-s etc Apache 2 sites available VHOSTS to etc Apache 2 sites enabled. Enter. It says it already exists. It's already there. And then etc init.d Apache 2 and then restart like that. Now let's go back over to our Windows host and look at it and see if it works now. So let's pop back over and check it out. So we hit that, and if you notice, this is a folder for www2. So now we have virtual host running. Well, we have one more that we created, and that's task.lab.lan. Lab.lan. I have to get used to saying that. Lab.lan. So task.lab.lan. Let's go look at that. Let's make sure we can resolve it. So I'm going to go to my terminal, and I'm going to see exactly what we named it. Dig task.lab.lan. And there it is. We can see that that resolves. Well, let's create a folder for it. So let's go over, and at this point, we're going to make a temporary folder. So we'll make a directory, var www html, and we'll call it temp task. Enter. Now we've created that folder right there. Just made it in var www html temp task. And now let's edit our vhost file. So vi sites, and I'm going to go into sites available and do the vhost, and it will automatically, of course, it's linked over. I'm going to add that over for task.lab.lan. The way I'm going to do that is I go to the very top of my window here. I type D4D, and then I press P for paste, and go down, and P for paste, and now I've got two virtual host entries. I DD'd at the very top to delete that extra line. So now I got two entries. For server name, I'm going to type this one and call this one task.lab.lan, and then we named it temp_task, like that. Now we got that. If you want, you can put spaces between those, and those spaces are just for readability, nothing else. And that way we've got two sites now. So let's go ahead and escape, :WQ. Feel free to pause this wherever you need to in case you're just getting used to typing, or maybe you're getting used to typing inside of VI, whatever it may be, and save that. Then once you save that, we're going to go over to etc init.d Apache 2 and restart. So now Apache 2 is restarted. Let's go back over to our remote display here, our Windows host, and instead of www2, we should get a directory listing with task.lab.lan, and notice we do. We get task.lab.lan. It shows us the directory listing. That's all there is to it for this lab, so I hope this goes well. There are only a couple of things we need to do here. We need to install and test Apache, be sure it's working, configure our virtual hosts, be sure those are in the right place, and configure DNS. That's all there is to it. And you notice it really only takes about 5 solid minutes to do this on a system. But we did explain it. We did it a couple of times, so it did take about 12 minutes in this video. Anyway, if you have any questions, please pop those in and let me know. I hope everything else works out really well for you. Take care.